Hi, my name is Sharika, and I'm your career growth partner, career advancement mentor, career advisor, whatever name makes you more comfortable. And I'm here today to talk about a subject that I think that is very near and dear to me, and I think may resonate with you all as well, which is how do you advance within the corporate space while maintaining your integrity and living out your purpose. And I want to really focus more on the integrity piece because if you're anything like me, I'm not sure I really knew what my purpose was when I was in the corporate space. Um, my background is in accounting, so I did accounting. I worked as a corporate accountant for over 15 years in various progressive roles. I always excelled in my roles. It didn't matter my educational background. It didn't matter that I'm not a CPA. It didn't matter what the rest of the team looked like or the rest of management looked like. I always excelled. And I know that it was because I stuck true to my integrity. I walked in the purpose that was set before me each day. And I had favor. Most importantly, I had favor. And the reason I had favor is because I'm a child of God and I stayed true and committed to Him. And because I stayed true and committed to Him, He protected me in all types of situations throughout my corporate experience. So I have worked with companies where we have done multiple mergers and acquisitions and all of those things. And sitting there, for example, there's one company that I was with, and about 9 months, I want to say, after starting with the company, they had this major layoff, and it kind of came out of nowhere, for the employees. Management knew about it. But through a series of unfortunate events, someone who was supposed to have been laid off was mistakenly sent the layoff list, and she was on it. And because she was on it, they had to expedite the process and do the layoffs that day versus, I don't know, the next week or two or whenever they were originally going to do them. Anyway, no one knew who, we didn't know, the rest of us didn't really know who was on the list, what our what lay ahead for us. We knew that we had merged with another company and that was about it, and we knew that there was additional headcount. Well, there was me and one other person within the role that did my same job, which I was in accounting, revenue accountant. There was me and one other person who both had the same role. And so we were both a little bit nervous, like, are they going to take one of us? Are we safe? She thought they would keep me and let her go. I didn't really expect them to let either one of us go, honestly. But anyway, they end up letting her go. Um, and I didn't even know it because we didn't sit where we could see each other. So I didn't know they had let her go until the person that we both reported to, he came by my desk later that day and he's like, hey, everything's okay. We'll talk in a little bit. I had no idea what he meant because, again, I didn't even know they had let her go. But when he said that, it made me nervous. So I went to her to go like, hey, what's going on? And that's when I found out that she had been let go, and then why he came and said what he said to me. Well, anyway, back to the favor part of it. And so while I hate that happened, and to any of those people, not just her, but to any of the people that were laid off, God allowed me to find favor in that situation because while I not only was able to keep my job, I received a promotion about 2 or 3 months after that. Because, like I had mentioned, we had merged with another company. And so the employees from the group that we'd merged with, plus, the role here within the US, because they were in Canada, the role here within the US, they needed someone to manage that team. And I ended up getting promoted to that role, and I didn't have to ask for it. It was based on how you work, based on the work ethic that we see, based on how you present yourself, how you show up, how you raise your hand, how you're willing to help. We want to offer you this role. Now let me just be clear in one thing. Yes, they offered me the role. I was happy to receive the role, but just because, first note, just because it's offered to you does not mean, and you weren't expecting it, and you're, oh, I'm so appreciative and all the things, does not mean that now I am bound to this salary or to not, being able to stick to my own ethics and that sort of thing. And so I'm saying that to say they offered me the role, excited about it. This is the effective start date, all of those things, and this is your salary. Not happy about the salary at all. And so there was a part of me that's like, well, you weren't even expecting this. It really doesn't change too much of what you have to do on a day to day. And because the other team pretty much manages themselves, and, they thought of you. I gave myself all of these reasons why I should just take it and move on. But then I was like, but no, wait a minute. I do work hard. I do deserve this. They gave this to me for a reason. And the fact is, now that I'm over this group, if somebody does something wrong, myself included, I am ultimately responsible. So, and this salary does not support that part of the role. And so I did counter, and I did receive what I countered for. But I came back and I countered because, again, I feel like that was the favor of God that was on me. I will even tell you, honestly, thinking about sticking with this same organization, I received another increase. Was it a year later? I think maybe a year later, another role of investment, another promotion, something that I hadn't even done before, and really an area of accounting that I wasn't that familiar with. But again, they saw the way that I worked. They knew that I was willing to learn. They knew that others liked working with me on my team, not on my team. And so they were like, hey, we feel like you could, handle this role. We'd like to offer this to you. Do you accept? And that one I accepted. And actually that was, I think, the only role, because I progressed a few times within this company, but that was the only role where I didn't counter. All the others I countered to receive more. But anyway, so they saw something in me that honestly I didn't even see in myself at that time. But again, just going back to being able to maintain your values and your ethics and present yourself as a Christian within the corporate space. That doesn't mean that you're walking around holding your Bible and quoting scriptures all day. It doesn't mean that whenever you talk to the team, every sentence needs to start with God said. It does mean that you hold on to your faith. It does mean that you do acknowledge God, that you do say, thank you, Jesus, that you do say your grace if the team is going out for lunch, and you don't let whatever may be going on and whatever thoughts that other people have interfere with your relationship with God. It means holding true to your integrity. So holding true to your integrity for me meant, as a leader of a team, if anyone on that team messes up, we have messed up. I'm not going to say you did this wrong. I'm not going to say, it's their fault. I wasn't about pointing fingers. If someone messed up, we messed up, because I am the leader of this team. And so therefore we share ownership. If they win, that one actually was a little bit different. I didn't say we won. I would call out who did it. I would say, this person was able to do this. I gave them this task. They performed well, whatever it was. But in doing so, people would still look at me and, as a leader in the work that I've done and say, well, you know what? We can applaud you for knowing who to assign this project to. Or we can applaud you because you were still able to get it done. And it could be something that they gave to me and I had enough to do and I delegated it to someone else. And we were still able to get it done on time, as scheduled, in the best way, in the best presentation. So it was those things. So it was me holding true in to my integrity and not trying to take other people's shine. It wasn't about that. The team wasn't there to serve me. I was there to serve them. Leadership is about servanthood, and I think a lot of people get that confused. As a leader, you are there to serve the team. You are there to see, what does my team need? How can I help them? How can I help you become better? How can I help you go to the next level? Because ultimately, as you help them, then they will in turn help you. When you help them to reach their goals, they're now a more productive employee. They're now a happier employee. They're now willing to, go the extra mile, things that may not have been the case before. And people look at you and say, oh my gosh, before you all started working together, they would never do X. Another example even of that is I was with one company. There was one person that reported to me who was not a team player, to say the least. And someone came to me maybe about 6 months or so after I started, and they were like, I'm not sure what's happening with, this particular person, but we're getting a completely different version of her. She talks to us, she shares information with us, which that's another one that I want to hit on, people who do not share information and trying to hold everything to themselves. She shares information with us. She's willing to help, like all of these different things. And I didn't think I had anything to do with that. And I didn't take credit for that. I'm like, well, I don't know. I haven't, I didn't threaten her life or anything. But what it was, I provided a safe space for her. I provided a space for her where she could be herself. I provided a space for her where if she did do something that was wrong, I could call it out, but without making her feel less than and without demeaning, her or who she was. And that's another thing that's really important. When people see that you care and that you're coming from an authentic place, when you're giving feedback, good or bad, when you're giving them feedback, then it goes a long way. And so they're more comfortable with you. They are more willing, if they do mess up or make an error, to call you, to reach out to you, say, you know what, and say, I messed up and I need your help to get this fixed, or this is what I did, I've already fixed it, but I just want you to know, I made a mistake. And you want to know those things because you don't want someone else coming to tell you what somebody on your team did, and you're in the dark. You're like, oh, I didn't know, nobody told me, and it makes you look like you don't know what's happening with your team. So I'm saying a lot of things. I initially had some very specific points, but I like to give the references of or specific events of things that have happened within my time in corporate. And it's not to highlight me and, oh, I was the best manager. Yep, I made mistakes. I did some things wrong. I'm sure I said some things I should not have said, had some judgments I shouldn't have had, but God's grace covered me through all of that. And so I'm sitting here now on the next step within my journey of just wanting others to understand that you can continue to be who you are. If you are asked to do something that makes you uncomfortable, then say that makes me uncomfortable. Be able to speak up for yourself. And even going back to the comment that I made about holding information in, holding information to yourself and not sharing it with others is not the way to keep your job. It is not. I repeat, holding information to yourself and not being willing to share with others, is not the way to keep your job. What it does is puts a target on your back, because we're all replaceable. And while it may take them a little while to get back on track, after you leave, because you have all of the knowledge, you have all the information, you've been there for years, the history and all of these things, they will recover. They will recover without you. So holding on to information it's not job security. It's the exact opposite, really. Because I didn't want anyone on my team who wasn't willing to share and help others. I didn't want anyone on my team who knew how to get things done, and instead of letting others also learn that, they just said, oh, I'll do it. Oh, I'll figure it out. And then, those would be the main ones saying, oh, I have so much to do because I had to do this for that person and that for someone else. Well, if you told them how to do it, you wouldn't have had to do all of those things. And it doesn't make you look like a hero. It makes you look selfish, because that's exactly what it is. We're all a team. We're all here to grow. And for me, the people who I would see who would say, I don't mind sitting with this person and show them this. I don't mind helping, the lady over there with that task. I've done it before, or I have some extra time. I don't mind lending a helping hand. Those are the people who receive the rave reviews from me when it was time for the annual reviews. Those are the ones who received the recommendations when it was time, either they wanted to go to another department or to grow within our department. Those were the ones whose backs I had 100%, because I knew that they were working out of a good place. I knew that they would help anyone who needed help. And I knew that they were willing to share information and not just hold on to things. So again, and being and growing with integrity and maintaining your faith in who you are, do just that. Be just who you are, who God created you to be. Don't pick up on the backstabbing, the withholding information, the pointing fingers, all of those things that a lot of other people do, honestly. And I've even had people to do it to me, but God kept me. Never have I been let go because someone else being manipulative, because someone else trying to throw me under the bus, because someone else, any of those things. That has never impacted my career at all, because you will have those people. You will have those people who want nothing but to see you fail. But if you stay focused on what you're supposed to do and why you're there in that particular position with that particular company, focus on your growth, focus on building yourself and or your team, God will take care of them. He always does. One last story. I had someone who was just like that. For whatever reason, she decided she didn't like me. I'm not sure why. I don't really care. She decided she didn't like me. She never said it. Like, she would speak to me when she saw me. And actually, I don't think it was that she didn't like me. She didn't like the fact of the role that I was in the company, because it was above her. And so she didn't like that. And so whenever someone on my team did something, she would always try to go to like the management that was above me to call people out. If somebody on my team did something, oh, they did this wrong, oh, they were supposed to give this to me an hour ago and I'm just now getting it. Like, very, very petty. And I'm not sure why. I'm like, I don't know where it came from. I also didn't waste any time trying to figure it out. And other people saw it, but in my mind, I was like, you know what? We're going to continue to do what we need to do. We're not going to focus on their antics and whatever it is that they're trying to do. They're angry about something and it has nothing to do with us. And we're going to keep moving and doing what we're supposed to do as a team. And that's exactly what we did. We get to maybe 6 months later, because she was new to our group. So we get to maybe 6 months in, and now she's having to report to me. So while you were upset, you didn't like the role that I had and was so quick to try to throw me under the bus, now you have to report to me, and you're a part of this same team that you've tried to put down all of these years, all of this time. And so that is how God works. Now, I will say I was not happy about it, because I was like, anybody else could have been on my team. But she and I ended up building a really good relationship. But yeah, so just trust God. Whatever the situation is, whatever it is you're going through, trust God that He will see you through. And people always say God will never put more on you than you can bear. But I like to look at it a little bit differently. I think He does put more on us than we can bear, because that's how we then go to Him. Because if He only gave us what we could handle in our own strength, when would we ever go to God? And so I think He does put a little bit more on us than we can bear, so that we know to stay focused on Him. And in staying focused on Him, He will guide us. He will lead us. He will be the lamp to our footsteps. He will see us through whatever that situation is. And so, again, in being successful in corporate space, hold on to your integrity, maintain who you are. Do not apologize for your faith. Do not apologize for your relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ. Just be true to you, and everything else will work out. God will work everything else out, to be clear. All right. My name is Sharika, and until next time, bye.